Hey everyone, ready to tackle those coding interviews? Today we're diving deep into what a typical coding interview day looks like.
We're going to help you walk into that interview room feeling like prepared and confident.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not panicked.
Yeah.
Our source for this deep dive is an Algo Academy blog post.
Oh, those guys are great.
Yeah, they always have really good stuff, and we're going to walk through the day chronologically from the night before
Oh, wow.
all the way to that post-interview follow-up.
Nice.
And okay, get this. They recommend setting multiple alarms.
Multiple alarms.
I know, right? What is this about? But trust me, we're going to get to that.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
So first, let's rewind to the night before the interview.
Okay.
They really emphasize getting a solid 7 to 8 hours of sleep.
That's smart.
Yeah, I mean, it's not exactly like a revolutionary concept, right?
Right.
But when you think about it, it's not about cramming those last-minute algorithms.
Yeah. It's about letting your mind rest and process everything you've learned.
Right. It's like letting your subconscious work on the problem space.
Exactly. You've been prepping, studying, practicing, and now it's time to let all that sink in.
Yeah, so you can access it smoothly during the interview.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay, so now let's get back to those multiple alarms because
Yes, please.
I'm totally that person who sets like a ridiculous number of alarms.
Me too, just in case.
Just to be safe.
Right.
But the blog post actually had a really interesting take on this.
Okay, I'm listening.
It's not just about like waking up on time.
It's about...
It's about building in a buffer for the unexpected. So a
okay.
delayed train,
Yeah.
or you spill your coffee,
Oh, yeah.
you know, all those little things that can happen.
Right, it's like accounting for edge cases in your code.
Yes, exactly.
You need to factor in those real-life glitches.
I can totally throw you off.
For sure.
And that's such a good mindset, I think, to carry into the tech world in general.
Oh, absolutely.
Things rarely go exactly to plan.
Never.
So being adaptable and having those buffers built in can make a huge difference. So, okay, you've woken up, hopefully not to a symphony of alarms. You're rested, and now it's the morning of the interview.
The big day.
The blog post mentions some of the usual suspects,
Let's hear it.
like breakfast and doing a tech check.
Right. Essentials.
Yeah, but I think these practical steps are more than just checklists, you know?
Yeah, I see them as like rituals.
Yes,
Yeah.
that help you feel in control and ready to tackle the day.
I used to have this whole routine before big presentations,
Oh, tell me about it.
like a specific playlist,
Oh, yeah.
a quick meditation session,
Love it.
even a power pose in the mirror.
Yes, I love that.
It helped me like shift my mindset and walk in with confidence.
That's so powerful, and it's all about creating those little psychological advantages, right?
Absolutely. Even something as simple as dressing the part.
Right.
Even for a virtual interview, it can make you feel more put together.
Professional.
Yeah. And, it's like putting on your game face.
Totally. And it ties into that bigger picture of soft skills that are so essential in the tech world.
Right.
You're not just a coding machine,
Yeah.
you know?
They're part of a team.
Yeah, and those first impressions matter.
Speaking of first impressions, the blog post brings up a really interesting point about arriving at the interview.
Okay.
They emphasize being mindful of how you interact with everyone,
Oh, that's interesting.
not just the interviewer.
So why would it matter how you treat the receptionist or like the person guiding you to the room?
Because you're being observed even before the official interview begins.
Oh, I see.
The tech world is all about collaboration.
Right.
And your ability to work effectively with others is a huge factor in your success.
Makes sense.
So treat everyone with respect and courtesy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like sending a signal that you're a team player,
That's a good point.
someone who values those interpersonal dynamics.
Okay, so you've aced those initial interactions, and now it's time for the interview structure itself.
Okay.
The Algo Academy blog breaks down the typical flow. So you have the introductions, then you've got the technical questions,
Right.
the infamous coding challenge, system design if it's applicable,
Uh-huh.
behavioral questions, and of course your questions.
Yes. Don't forget to ask questions.
Knowing the structure beforehand can definitely help with those pre-interview jitters.
Oh, for sure. It's like having a roadmap for the conversation.
Right. You're not going in completely blind.
Exactly.
It's like knowing the beats of a song before you start dancing.
I like that analogy.
But let's not just gloss over each section.
No, let's dive in.
Let's really get into it.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, so we've kind of like navigated that pre-interview stage and gotten a feel for the overall structure,
Right.
but let's get real.
Yeah.
Coding interviews can be nerve-wracking.
Definitely even experienced developers
Oh, yeah.
face challenges during interviews.
For sure.
It's really about how we handle those bumps in the road,
So let's talk about those challenges.
Right.
What are some of the things that throw people off during coding interviews?
Well, getting stuck on a problem,
Oh, yeah.
that's pretty universal.
Yeah.
It's not a sign of weakness, though. Right.
It's just like a natural part of problem solving.
So what do you do when you hit that mental wall, like your brain just turns into a loading screen?
The worst thing you could do is clam up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, communication is key, like throughout the entire interview,
Even when you're struggling.
especially when you're
So
struggling.
don't let silence be your only response.
No, talk it out.
Talk it out.
Yeah, verbalize your thought process.
Even if you feel like you're going in circles.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Sometimes just explaining your approach can help you uncover a new path.
Right.
And plus, the interviewer might offer a helpful nudge,
Oh, that's a good point.
or clarify something.
That wasn't clear before.
Yeah,
And if you're really lost, is it okay to ask for a hint?
absolutely. Asking for help shows that you're resourceful
Okay.
and not afraid to collaborate.
Which are good qualities in any developer.
For sure, it's much better than just staring blankly at the screen
Yeah.
and hoping for a miracle.
Okay. Good to
I
know.
know.
But sometimes it's not even the problem itself.
It's the nerve. It's the nerves. That fight or flight response kicks in.
Oh, yeah.
And suddenly you can't remember how to write a simple for loop.
Right.
It's like your brain just shuts down.
It's normal to feel nervous, though.
Right.
The key is to manage that nervousness.
So it doesn't take over.
Exactly.
Like I used to get so anxious before interviews that my hands would shake.
Oh, yeah.
So tell me what worked for you. What are your tips for calming those nerves?
Deep breathing is a simple but powerful tool.
Okay.
Take a few slow, deep breaths before you even log in,
Before you even start.
Yeah, it helps slow down your heart rate
Right.
and sends a signal to your body to relax.
Looks like a mini meditation session.
Right, to center yourself.
I like that. Anything else?
Positive self-talk can be really helpful, too.
Oh, yeah.
Remind yourself of your preparation, your past successes.
Yeah.
Focus on your strengths.
Instead of dwelling on what could go wrong,
Right.
pump yourself up instead of tearing yourself down.
Exactly. And remember, the interviewer wants you to succeed. Oh, that's a good point.
They've invested time in reviewing your application, scheduling this interview.
Yeah.
They're rooting for you.
They want to see you do well.
Yeah, they want to see you demonstrate your skills.
Okay, that's actually really comforting to hear.
Right.
It's easy to forget that the interviewer is on your side in a way.
They are. They want to find the right fit for their teams.
Right, and you want to find the right role for yourself.
Exactly.
But let's be real, sometimes things go wrong that are totally out of our control, like technical issues.
Oh, yeah.
Those are always a joy.
Especially in virtual interviews.
Especially in virtual interviews, right? It's like Murphy's Law in action.
Totally.
Mhm.
But it's how you respond that sets you apart.
So stay calm, don't panic.
Right.
Easier said than done when your Wi-Fi decides to take a vacation
Oh, yeah.
in the middle of your coding challenge.
Right. That's why it's so important to have a backup plan.
Okay, so what's your backup plan?
Well, if your Wi-Fi drops, be ready with your phone as a hotspot.
And if your computer crashes, know how to restart quickly and rejoin the meeting.
Okay, good tips. And I think most importantly, communicate clearly with the interviewer.
Oh, for sure.
Let them know what's happening.
Stay professional.
Don't let a little tech hiccup derail your whole interview.
They understand that these things happen.
Wow.
It's your professionalism and problem-solving skills that they'll remember.
Okay, last challenge but not least, time management.
Oh, yeah.
These interviews are usually pretty structured, right?
They typically allocate specific time for each section.
But time can fly when you're in the zone,
Oh, yeah. It's easy to lose track.
especially when you're like deep in a problem.
So how do you make sure you cover everything without rushing?
That's a good question.
At the beginning of each section, clarify how much time you have.
Oh, that's a good tip.
It's perfectly acceptable to ask.
Okay, so it's like setting those mini deadlines within the interview itself.
Exactly. It helps you pace yourself.
Any other time management strategies?
Prioritize. If you're running short on time, focus on the most critical parts of the problem.
So it's better to have a partially complete solution
Yeah, that showcases your
than
thinking.
rush through everything and make careless mistakes.
Right.
I love that advice. It's about working smarter, not just harder.
Exactly.
So we've talked about all these potential challenges, but let's shift gears and talk about setting ourselves up for success.
Okay.
The Algo Academy blog emphasizes a few key things. First up, practice. No surprise there.
Right.
But they talk about utilizing platforms like Algo Academy itself for targeted practice.
Yeah.
So what makes those platforms so valuable?
Well, they offer a structured approach to practicing coding problems.
Okay.
They have a library of challenges categorized by difficulty and topics so you can focus on areas you need to improve.
So it's like having a personal trainer for your coding skills.
I like that analogy.
They help you identify those weaknesses and create a customized workout plan.
And many platforms offer feedback on your code,
Oh, that's nice.
which is incredibly valuable.
Wow.
They can point out areas where you could improve efficiency or readability.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Besides practice, they also stress communication.
Right, we've touched on this already.
We have, but why is it so crucial in a coding interview?
Because coding in the real world is rarely a solo endeavor.
Right.
You'll be collaborating with teams, explaining your code to colleagues,
Yeah.
presenting your solutions to stakeholders.
So the interview is a chance to show off those communication skills.
Exactly. It's not enough to just write code that works.
Right.
You need to articulate your choices, explain your logic,
Right.
even defend your solutions.
So think of the interview as a collaborative problem-solving session,
That's a good way to frame it.
not an interrogation.
Right.
You're working together.
With the interviewer to find the best solution.
I like that framing a lot. It takes some of the pressure off.
Yeah.
Okay, next tip. Know your fundamentals.
Okay.
What exactly do they mean by that?
They're talking about the core concepts of computer science.
Okay, so data structures, algorithms.
Right. Time and space complexity.
Okay.
Object-oriented programming principles.
OOP.
Yeah, these are like the building blocks.
Of software development.
Exactly.
So it's not just memorizing syntax.
No, it's about understanding the why behind the code.
Why is that so important in an interview setting?
Because a solid understanding of those fundamentals
No.
allows you to adapt to new challenges and come up with creative solutions.
Right.
Interviewers want to see that you can think critically about code.
Not just regurgitate memorized solutions.
Exactly.
It's like the difference between knowing the rules of grammar
Right.
and being able to write a compelling story.
I like that.
Okay, they also emphasize writing clean, readable code.
Oh, this is so important.
Why is that important in an interview setting?
Because it shows your professionalism,
Oh,
your attention to detail.
right.
The interviewer is not only evaluating your solution, but also your coding style,
So clean code's easier to understand, debug, and maintain.
which are all essential qualities in a developer.
All right, it's like showcasing your craftsmanship.
Exactly. No shortcuts, no messy code, just to get it working.
You want your code to be elegant and well-structured, almost like a work of art.
Use meaningful variable names.
Okay.
Add comments to explain your logic.
Yeah.
Maintain consistent formatting.
Right.
Imagine someone else has to read and understand your code.
Make it easy for them.
Exactly.
Okay, last but not least, they talk about optimization.
Okay.
What's the key takeaway here? Is it all about finding the most efficient solution right away?
It's not always about finding the most optimal solution immediately.
Okay.
It's about being able to analyze your code, identify potential bottlenecks, and iterate to improve its efficiency.
So don't get hung up on perfection right away.
No focus on getting a working solution first.
And then talk about how you can make it better.
Exactly. Show that you're not just a code writer, but a critical thinker.
Right.
Who's constantly seeking improvement.
And don't be afraid to talk through your optimization process with the interviewer.
Right. They might have suggestions or insights you hadn't considered.
It's all about that collaboration again.
It is.
Okay, we've covered a ton of ground here, from pre-interview jitters to coding challenges to optimization strategies.
Yeah, we have.
But before we wrap up this section,
Okay.
let's zoom out a bit. What's the bigger picture here?
The coding interview is just one step in your journey as a developer.
Right.
It's an opportunity to learn, grow, and showcase your passion for technology.
But it's not the be-all, end-all.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's easy to get caught up in the pressure and stress.
Yeah.
But it's important to remember it's just one data point.
And every interview, regardless of the outcome,
Yeah.
is a valuable learning experience.
You can use it to identify areas where you need to improve, refine your interview skills.
Right.
Gain confidence for your next opportunity.
I love that perspective.
Yeah.
It takes some of the pressure off, doesn't it?
It should, because ultimately it's your passion, your skills.
Right.
And your willingness to learn that will determine your success.
And the tech world. The interview is just a chance to demonstrate those qualities.
Exactly.
Okay, that's inspiring stuff. We're almost out of time for this section.
Okay.
But before we move on, what's that one thought-provoking question you want to leave our listeners with?
We've talked about thinking out loud during the interview,
Yes.
but how can you apply that technique to your everyday coding? How can verbalizing your process, even when you're not being observed,
Right.
lead to better code, fewer bugs, or even just a clearer understanding of your own problem-solving process?
Ooh, I like that. Something to chew on for sure.
Right.
And hey, listeners, we're rooting for you.
Yeah,
Let us know how your coding interviews go. We're all on this journey together.
we are.
But for now, let's take a quick break, and then we'll dive into what to do after the interview.
Sounds good.
Stick with us. All right, we're back. So we prepped, we interviewed, We've survived those coding challenges
Mostly.
and hopefully impressed with our communication skills.
Fingers crossed.
But the interview day isn't over just yet, is it? Yeah.
Not quite. The blog post emphasizes that there are a few crucial steps.
After the interview.
Yeah, and these can really make a difference.
I'm all about that follow-up game plan.
Right.
It's easy to just collapse on the couch after an interview, but I found that,
Taking those extra steps.
yeah, it can help you feel more in control.
And even turn a no into a valuable learning experience.
Exactly. So first things first.
Take a moment to reflect
Reflect.
on the experience while it's fresh in your mind.
Right. Don't just dwell on every answer, but actually jot down some notes.
Yeah, good idea.
What went well? What could you have done better?
Right. Were there any questions that caught you off guard?
It's like doing a code review on your own performance.
I like that.
I used to think this was just about calming my post-interview anxiety, but it's really about turning that experience
Into actionable insights.
for next time.
It's valuable data for your own personal development.
Did you explain your solutions clearly and concisely?
Right. Did you stumble when asked about a specific project or technology?
This helps you pinpoint areas to focus on for future interviews.
Exactly.
So even if you don't land this particular job,
The interview itself can level you up for the next one.
I like that a lot.
Each interview is a stepping stone, and the more you reflect and learn from each experience,
Yeah.
the more confident and prepared you'll become.
Okay, so beyond the self-reflection,
Right.
the blog post also highlights the importance of thanking the interviewer
Yes, always.
and sending a follow-up email.
It's a must.
I have to admit, sometimes I feel awkward sending those thank you notes.
Really?
It's like, are they really reading these? Do they actually matter?
Think of it this way. It's not just about thanking them for their time.
Okay.
It's about reinforcing your interest in the role
Right.
and keeping yourself top of mind.
Staying on their radar.
Exactly. It shows that you're genuinely invested, not just going through the motions.
And it's a competitive landscape out there.
Oh, it is.
Those little touches of professionalism can set you apart.
It's like adding that final polish to your code.
Right before you push it to production.
Exactly.
And if they gave you a time frame for a decision,
Right.
it's perfectly acceptable to politely follow up.
If you haven't heard back,
Then,
again, it's about demonstrating initiative without being pushy.
okay, so we've covered the entire coding interview day from pre-sleep jitters to post-interview reflection.
Phew, it's a marathon.
It is a marathon. As we wrap up our deep dive into this Algo Academy blog post, what's the overarching theme or takeaway?
I think it boils down to this. Preparation is key, but it's not just about memorizing algorithms
Right.
or cramming technical facts.
It's about cultivating a problem-solving mindset.
Yeah, honing your communication skills and approaching the whole process with a growth mindset.
I love that. It's about seeing the interview not just as a test, but as an opportunity
Right.
to showcase your passion and connect with people.
In the industry,
Exactly. And that mindset will serve you well throughout your entire tech career.
not just during interviews.
Well said.
Yeah.
Huge thanks to Algo Academy for this insightful blog post.
They're great.
Listeners, if you are prepping for coding interviews, definitely check out their platform.
Yeah, for those targeted practice resources.
And one final thought before we sign off.
We've talked about how crucial communication is in interviews,
Yes.
but how can you apply that thinking out loud technique?
To your everyday coding.
Could it lead to better solutions, fewer bugs, or even just a clearer understanding of your own coding process?
That's a great challenge, something to ponder for sure. And listeners, let us know how your coding interviews go.
We're all on this journey together.
Keep diving deep, keep learning, and keep that code clean.